Good morning. I'm Savannah Sellers. Joe's off today. Thanks for joining us this Tuesday. We're going to begin this morning in Saudi Arabia, where President Trump landed just a few hours ago for the first foreign trip of his second term. Mr. Trump received a royal welcome upon his arrival to the capital city, Riyadh. He was greeted by Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman as he got off Air Force One. Now, this is just the first leg of the president's trip to the Middle East. He'll head to Qatar and the United Arab Emirates later this week. But there is controversy growing over this offer of a luxury jet from Qatar that could become the next Air Force One. Also, this trip comes just one day after the U.S. and China agreed to a 90-day pause on the triple-digit reciprocal tariffs they imposed on each other last month, marking a big step toward easing the trade war between the two countries. We've got our friend of the show, Caleb Silver, standing by with analysis on that huge trade breakthrough. But we're going to begin in Saudi Arabia with NBC News senior White House correspondent Kelly O'Donnell. She is traveling with the president. Kelly, good morning. Thanks for being with us. So walk us through what's on President Trump's agenda for this stop in Saudi Arabia.
Well, good morning. Good to be with you. And for the president, this is an opportunity to expand the American brand and perhaps the Trump brand as well here in Saudi Arabia with important business meetings. There are partners in business from the kingdom as well as the United States who will be meeting here. The president will be talking about economic development, and he has already been treated to some of the pomp and ceremony that is a custom here in the kingdom when an important leader visits, and President Trump certainly seemed to revel in that as well. Some of his top advisors also had a chance to meet the Crown Prince, who's effectively the leader here in the kingdom at this point. And the president will certainly be trying to get investment in the United States. But the conversations will also go beyond that to talk about important regional issues like Iran and certainly some of the global hotspots where the U.S. has come to rely on some of the support that the Saudi kingdom can provide, especially in the Middle East where there are high tension. So for President Trump, this is a chance to be on the world stage in a way that he has not during his years out of office. And certainly this is notable because Saudi Arabia was the first stop in his first term. And now this is a multi-day trip and shows the emphasis President Trump places on this part of the world and the relationships he's building here.
Kelly, let's also talk about the offer of this luxury jet. We have, unsurprisingly, Democrats criticizing this move, but also even some of his allies here criticizing the administration's plans to accept this plane and saying it needs congressional approval. Tell us the latest on this.
Well, it's an extraordinary offer from the Qatari government to provide the president to the Department of Defense a plane that can be fitted as Air Force One and then eventually, before he leaves office, be transferred to the coming Trump Presidential Library. It's an extraordinary gesture and one that has raised a lot of questions about the ethical concerns here because foreign governments are not to give gifts of this magnitude to the United States without congressional approval. President Trump says this was essentially an offer too good to resist. The current Air Force One, a Boeing-made product, is 40 years old. There is another one in the pipeline, but it has not been delivered yet, and he's concerned about an aging aircraft. Here's how the president responded to questions about a potential conflict here.
I would never be one to turn down that kind of an offer. I mean, I could be a stupid person, say, no, we don't want a free, very expensive airplane. But I thought it was a great gesture.
And certainly for President Trump, this is something that he is eager to accept. His aides are talking about it in positive terms, but critics say this is too great a value, that it is effectively a bribe, that it crosses all the ethical boundaries. And so this will be an ongoing pressure point. Of course, it's currently fitted as a luxury liner, kind of an apartment in the air. It would need lots of changes for security and so forth, but it is the kind of plane that President Trump envisions he would be using as Air Force One.
Kelly, also, it's been a little over 24 hours since the U.S. and China announced this temporary pause on most of these tariffs on each other. Global markets soared, but it is only a 90-day pause. Has the administration outlined any plans to pursue a more comprehensive agreement? Do we have any idea how talks, negotiations are going?
Well, certainly the pressure has been relieved to a degree, but only to a degree, with the talks that happened in Switzerland, reducing the tariffs from 145% down to 30%, still higher than when President Trump came into office. So that still presents issues for supply chain and those kinds of imports that American businesses rely on. They are talking about talking and trying to come to some greater resolution. But this has really been just sort of a pause moment and taking off some of the heat, but there's a lot of work still to do to try to resolve what have been intractable problems between the United States and China on trade. President Trump, in his tariff war, has certainly set his sights on China, so a little bit of the heat is reduced now, but there's a lot of work for Secretary Besson and others to continue going forward. Savannah?
All right, Kelly O'Donnell traveling with the president. Thank you very much. Well, let's get more analysis on the economy and markets with our friend, Investopedia's editor-in-chief, Caleb Silver. Caleb, good morning. Great to have you with us. Big news yesterday. Clearly, investors breathing a sigh of relief. We saw what happened with the market yesterday. How's it shaping up today? And tell us where that rally ended.
Yeah, it rallied ended with the S&P 500 up over 3.5%, one of its best days in the last few years. And the NASDAQ, where a lot of those chip stocks, semiconductor stocks, and electronic stocks, that was up over 4%. So a really big day for the stock market, a good relief rally there. We're pretty much back to where we started the beginning of the year. And the agreement, while it's not cemented yet and there's still a lot of details, it does provide some clarity. You at least have a baseline number of 30% that businesses can operate with. But there's other tariffs that have either been in place or are going to go into place with China that still need to be resolved. So still some resolution there. But the fact that there's an actual number is actually really good for companies who are really trying to plan for the future.
And for businesses and just consumers as individuals alike, does the 90 days go far enough? Does it really give you a break on thinking, oh, good, I can still, buy things for a little bit longer without that exorbitant fee? Or is it just simply not enough clarity?
It's not enough clarity, but people have been buying in anticipation of tariffs. We saw a big run-up in auto sales in the past couple of months, big run-up in electronic sales. People may be doing some of that impulse or trying to buy ahead of tariffs or ahead of any decisions in tariffs. But there's a big exemption that was left out of the agreement that actually went through this morning. That was the de minimis exemption for packages of $800 or less. You have to pay a pretty big tax on that, about 10% or $100. That now is lifted, so that's good for small businesses and people ordering from China, and then China agreeing to lift restrictions on buying Boeing parts. A lot of this is about the U.S. trying to get China to buy more from the United States and taxing China on its imports to the United States as well.
What does need to ultimately get done, get hammered out to put the world economy back on track?
Well, this is a big agreement. This is one of our biggest trading partners, $580 billion of trade between the U.S. and China. We still have to deal with Canada and Mexico, but this would set sort of the framework for what other deals could look like in the Asia-Pacific region. We know that's a big priority for the Treasury Secretary, South Korea, obviously, Japan, big trading partners with the U.S. So if they get this and they get the agreement from these countries to make more purchases from U.S. companies, I think that's going to be one of the big sticking points in these deals. Will they actually make the purchases? There was a deal like this back in 2020 in Trump's first term. They didn't come through with all the purchases that they guaranteed, which is why Trump was so aggressive in his second term with these tariffs.
Caleb, but also just in terms of the broader economy, Goldman Sachs cut its U.S. recession risk to 35% from up at the 45% it was at in the wake of this news. How big of a deal is that, and what does that mean about the chances of a recession now? Yeah,
the heat has come down off of that recession talk for now, at least. There was predictions as high as 40%, 50%. We heard CEOs like Jamie Dimon warning of an impending recession. I think that's cooling a little bit. That doesn't mean we won't have what we call stagflation, which is a slowing economy, which we've seen in the first quarter. Rising prices, those are coming with tariffs. 30% on China is not a little deal there, and also potentially rising unemployment. But right now, that unemployment rate of 4.2%, hard to have a recession when you have full employment in this country.
All right, Caleb, thank you so much. A lot to cover this morning. Well, as the president was traveling to the Middle East, an American-Israeli soldier held hostage in Gaza by Hamas since the October 7th terror attack was freed. Edan Alexander is now reunited with his family after a deal negotiated by the Trump administration. NBC News correspondent Hala Garani has this emotional reunion.
After 584 days in Hamas captivity, the emotional homecoming. Edan Alexander's mom hugging him, telling him she loves him.
Edan, the last known living American hostage, embracing his family.
While back in Tenafly, New Jersey, his hometown, cheering at a watch party for the release of the dual U.S.-Israeli citizen.
Until now that he was released on the screen, I didn't believe it would be true.
The deal between the Trump administration and Hamas that led to his freedom largely bypassed Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Hamas is still holding at least 20 living hostages. The father of one of them says only one man can get his son out.
Only hope is in President Trump. We have no trust in our government.
The president saying other hostages could be next.
We hope that we're going to have other hostages released too.
Lester has been speaking with the families of American hostages for months, here with Idan's sister last September.
My best friend, that I was growing up with, has just been gone from my life. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
It's been very difficult.
She was here as he finally came home. With Hamas still holding hostages and the humanitarian situation in Gaza getting worse, the focus now turns to a potential ceasefire. President Trump is traveling to Qatar, which has close relations with Hamas, with many hoping it might lead to a breakthrough in talks.
Hala, thank you so much. Well, for more on this, let's bring in Hagar Shamali. She's the host of the Oh My World video series on YouTube, also a former spokesperson for the U.S. mission to the UN. Hagar, great to see you. Good morning. So what does it tell you that President Trump sidestepped Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu here and ultimately did secure Idan Alexander's release?
You know, Savannah, it's actually a pattern of behavior at this point where Trump has sidestepped Netanyahu on several occasions. He did when they negotiated with Hamas directly for the release of Idan Alexander and the other American hostages who are not living a couple months ago. And then when he pursued the Iran negotiations. And then most recently, when he cut a deal with the Houthis, a ceasefire, agreeing not to attack them anymore in exchange for the Houthis not attacking U.S. vessels only in the Red Sea, right? That's another deal that he cut around Netanyahu. And now you have this one. And so what he's saying here is that any deal making he pursues is going to be in the benefit, first and foremost, for the United States and American citizens.
Hagar, Hamas says they released Alexander in hopes of restarting a ceasefire and the flow of humanitarian aid. How likely is that to happen? Do we think that this could lead to a breakthrough, especially since, of course, they're asking those things of Israel, who was not directly involved in this negotiation to release Alexander?
Sure. Well, so on one hand, you have the fact that you haven't had a hostage released in a long time. And the fact that we've seen Idan Alexander now being released renews hope that the other ones could be released. And it comes in the context of two important deadlines. One is one from the Trump administration to reach some movement on ceasefire negotiations as Trump is going to the Middle East. And then the other is a deadline set by the Israeli cabinet as well for a ceasefire deal by the end of Trump's trip. Otherwise, you'll have Israel expanding its war in Gaza further. Only on May 1st, Netanyahu, in a speech, said that he was prioritizing the defeat of Hamas over the release of hostages. And so only a couple weeks ago, a lot of people had lost hope. And this now, it opens the door a little bit, even if it's only a crack open. And on humanitarian aid, Israel has just agreed to allow humanitarian aid in with private companies only, which undermines the UN. The UN was not happy about that. But again, these small moves at least open the door for potential movement on this otherwise situation that had been an impasse.
When you look at the agenda of President Trump's trip to the Middle East, do you see any kind of plan to advance U.S. interests in the region, aside from anything economic?
That's right. Most of the focus is on business deals, as you know, as you've discussed. But there are two geopolitical things that Trump is going to be focusing on. And that's number one, the revitalization of a Saudi-Israel normalization deal. Let's remember that that is a path to what President Trump would like as a path to a potential Nobel Peace Prize. And that's his main focus. He wants to expand the number of countries under the Abraham Accord, starting with Saudi Arabia, or really led by Saudi Arabia in particular. So there's that. And there's also the fact that Trump's Iran negotiations are largely rooted in a purpose to prevent a nuclear arms race in the Middle East. So he's going to be talking about that and certainly seeking quiet support for that, at least.
All right. Hagar Shamali, as always, thank you very much for joining us. Well, House Republicans are gearing up for a big day on Capitol Hill. Their proposed legislation that would make major cuts and changes to Medicaid, of course, the government-run health care program for tens of millions of low-income and disabled Americans, is set for debate in committee later today. The legislation includes work requirements stricter eligibility checks, citizenship verification, and new limits on federal funding for Medicaid to states. The plan has drawn harsh criticism from Democrats. Well, it needs the support of nearly every House Republican in order to advance in the Senate. NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Melanie Zanona joins us now from Capitol Hill with more on this. Hey, Melanie, good morning. Good to see you. So this legislation, it's a key part of House Republicans' agenda. Tell us a little about how it's proposing to change Medicaid. What does it mean in terms of like people potentially losing their coverage altogether? And I mentioned, that Democrats have been critical of this. Just tell us what we're hearing from both sides.
Yeah, good morning, Savannah. Medicaid is under some major overhaul changes underneath this proposal, which could result in millions of Americans losing their coverage. And this is according to some nonpartisan scorekeepers. I want to walk you through some of those changes because they're pretty significant here. The first major requirement is that they are going to institute work requirements for able-bodied adults. That would require 80 hours a month for people in order to qualify to be on Medicaid. That is something that Republicans have tried for many years. Some Republican states have tried it and failed. So that would be a pretty big deal if they're able to pass this. The second thing they're trying to do is increasing the frequency of eligibility checks. Currently, those eligibility checks are done every year, but Republicans want to speed that up to every 6 months. And finally, they will reduce funding underneath this proposal for non-citizen states that give Medicaid to anyone on the rolls who are not citizens of the United States. Now, there are some proposals that were being considered that were much steeper in cuts. Those did not make the final bill. That would include capping the federal limit on how much the government is willing to spend on Medicaid per individual, as well as reducing the federal match rate for some of these states that expanded Medicaid under the Affordable Care Act. So really what they were attempting to do here with this bill was strike a delicate balance between the moderate Republicans who didn't want to see any changes to Medicaid and the conservative hardliners who wanted to essentially gut the entire program. But even with these modest changes, Democrats are saying this is going to result in millions of people losing their coverage, and they're going to go after some of these vulnerable Republicans who are up for re-election next year.
Also, Mel, on the agenda today, the House GOP's tax bill. It proposes increasing what's called the SALT deduction limit. That stands for state and local taxes. This is the amount that people can claim on their federal taxes. Putting that at $30,000 for people making less than $400,000. Walk us through this. What should the American consumer know? And tell us about the biggest challenges that it faces.
This is still one of the biggest unresolved issues in this entire tax and spending cut package, and it really has the potential to unravel the entire bill if it does not get worked out. Several House Republicans have already come out and said they will not vote for this bill if that SALT figure, that $30,000 cap for the SALT deduction, remains. And so leadership has signaled that they are going to try to change this before the final vote next week. It is going to committee today. That's just considered some placeholder language. And some of these Republicans have campaigned on this issue, especially in these high tax blue states like New York and California, where there's a lot of vulnerable members up for re-election next year. And so they are really digging in here. But the question is just how high Republicans are willing to go. Because, again, it's this delicate balance, right? You have these hardline conservatives who don't want to add to the deficit. So there's not a huge appetite, especially in Republicans in red states, to actually increase that number so much. But it's going to have to come up in order for this entire package to pass next week.
All right. Melanie Zanona, thank you so much. We're now just a little over a week out from Memorial Day. Can you believe it? The kickoff to summer and what could be a record-breaking travel season. Now, after a variety of issues we've been telling you about at Newark Airport that have created ripple effects across air travel, the U.S. Department of Transportation is now laying out an aggressive plan to address the air traffic control outages in hopes of a smoother summer. NBC News senior correspondent Tom Costello has the latest.
Now up and running 2 high-speed redundant telecom lines, sending radar and radio data from New York to controllers in Philadelphia who handle Newark airspace. When the main line still glitched early Sunday morning, the new backup lines held.
The equipment that we use is so old, the information has to be slowed down. It comes in too fast.
Sunday's glitch lasted only 30 seconds, but DOT Secretary Duffy says controllers feared the system was crashing and ordered a 45-minute ground stop with delays and cancellations quickly climbing.
And Newark, just so you know, we're all rooting for you for better equipment and more staff.
Blaming the Biden administration for failing to upgrade the system, Duffy says a Tiger team is now fast-tracking new fiber optic lines to controllers at Newark, JFK, and LaGuardia, but it will take weeks to test.
Families shouldn't have to wait 4 or 5 hours for a flight that never takes off.
Amid the equipment failures, too few controllers, and a runway under construction, United has cut nearly 36 flights at Newark and is urging other airlines to also make cuts. Meanwhile, the Trump administration urging Congress to spend tens of billions of dollars up front to replace the entire ATC system nationwide.
My concern is that we could see other situations like this around the country because the system is old. It's old.
On Wednesday, the airlines are meeting about reducing the number of flights at Newark, with the airport already maxed out. Back to you.
All right, Tom, thank you very much. Well, in the first news conference of his papacy, Pope Leo XIV emphasized the importance of protecting the media and free speech. He addressed journalists from around the world yesterday, even making time to chat one-on-one with some of them after the event. Just like we showed you yesterday, that included our Lester Holt. Here's more on what he had to say.
It was an unexpected moment at a speech to invited international media members, Pope Leo concluding his remarks and then walking to the front rows, where we had a brief off-mic chat. I asked him about the significance of an American pope. You tell me, he said, before sharing an anecdote about an individual returning to the church because there was now an American pope.
Good morning, and thank you for this wonderful reception. They say when they clap at the beginning, it doesn't matter much. If you're still awake at the end and you still want to applaud, thank you very much.
The Pope speaking of the need to safeguard what he called the gift of free speech and of the press, remarks that drew a warm response from the invited journalists.
The Pope delivering a really stirring defense of the free press, and you talked about those who have been locked up, incarcerated because of their reporting.
Benedicat vos.
Pope Leo has quickly embraced the role of moral authority,
L'amato popolo ucraino,
calling for a lasting peace in Ukraine, an end to violence, and a release of hostages in Gaza. His brother John watching the Pope's first Sunday blessing as pontiff with us from a nearby rooftop. He says his brother is determined.
It does seem like he was made for this moment. He knows what he's going to do. He knows what he's going to say.
Others who know him say expect Pope Leo to hold his ground when he finds it necessary.
Will he be afraid or bound by the risk of failure or criticism?
My experience of now Pope Leo is that he's not afraid to make decisions that may be unpopular. Decisions where, when he really believes that this is the right decision to make, it's very easy for him to make that decision.
4 days into his papacy, Pope Leo seemed at ease, even signing the baseball of one attendee.
What did he say?
He said White Sox or Cubs, and I said White Sox.
Playfully donning a well-wisher's colorful sash and blessing babies. But there was a lot of business ahead. In our brief moment together, I asked him whether he has plans to return to the U.S. anytime soon. His answer, not yet.
What a neat interaction there. Thanks to Lester for that. Well, evacuations are underway in parts of northern Minnesota because of several wildfires burning in the area. On Monday, Governor Tim Walz called in the Minnesota National Guard to help fight these growing fires. More than 40 structures have been destroyed by them, which are continuing to grow in size, like the Camp House fire, which has been burning near Lake Superior since Sunday and nearly doubled in size yesterday after jumping across a highway. And today's weather conditions are not favorable for firefighters. Meteorologists are calling for warm, dry weather and those wind gusts up to 25 miles per hour. We've got more on the record heat and this fire risk facing the Northern Plains in your morning News Now weather. Angie Lastman is here with us with your forecast. Hey, Angie, good morning.
Hi, Savannah. Good morning to you. You got that right. We've got record heat from top to bottom of the middle of the country. Those are just a couple of the spots that we're going to focus on. But let's start with Texas, where temperatures today expected to hit 103 degrees in Austin. That would break that record for this date of 98 degrees. Similar story in Houston, not quite as expansive between today's temperatures that we're expecting in the record, but still likely to break a record there. Del Rio and more of where that came from as we get into tomorrow, too. 99 for Dallas, 105 for Austin, Fort Smith potentially tying a record, even out towards Monroe. Maybe not record-breaking temperatures, but we sure are close, and we sure are running well above normal for this time of year. When it's all said and done through the week, I think we'll see dozens of potential records challenged. You can see many of them focused across the southern plains, but Kansas City, Rockford, Indianapolis, all included in that as well. well, where we could see some of those record-breaking highs. Big picture look for the temperatures today. Yes, hot, and of course, summer-like across Texas, but even up into Minneapolis, we're running nearly 20 degrees above normal. So a high of 88 degrees is what you'll get for our friends there. 70s for Detroit, mid-80s for Kansas City. Even tomorrow, 93 degrees in Wichita. Jackson will head to the low 90s. 73 degrees for Green Bay. And look what happens by the time we get into late week. It's the pool weather that settles in across the east. Raleigh into the 90s, Philadelphia into the 80s for your Friday and Saturday, 90s for Friday in Atlanta. So warm temperatures to come. And of course, we mentioned those fire alerts that are up. 7 million people across parts of the Southwest and the Northern Plains. We're going to see those last through at least the day today. You can see the couple of spots that we're going to watch for that critical risk and elevated risk. Those same locations that are under the fire alerts, elevated winds. We'll see the dry conditions and, of course, those warm temperatures not helping. And just a quick check on the Mid-Atlantic, where we're waking up to wet weather. It's an umbrella kind of day for a lot of folks from the Carolinas, stretching up into the Northeast and back towards the Great Lakes. We've got plenty of flood alerts up at this hour, and those will stay with us through the day today and potentially into tomorrow. We could still see some trouble spots with this system kind of bringing some good soaking rain across this region that will interrupt those outdoor plans for sure over the next 2 days, Savannah.
Oh, really something. So much rain in parts of the country and then this fire risk.
Yep, we've got it all.
Thanks, Angie. We'll see you in an hour.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.